Welcome to the Barry Harris Masterclass reviews. Those were two of the two movements I learned from the master himself. And in Barry Harris Masterclass reviews, we'll be taking the information that I learned and recorded from attending classes at the Barry Harris workshops in Manhattan for about 1 year in 2019 to just up before the pandemic when we had to shut down. Now, in the Barry Harris masterclass reviews, it will be for me a learning process because most of the time that I went there, I could not really understand what was being done, what was being taught, or even how to do it. So it will be a process of learning for me, and I'll be sharing this with you. But there are recorded videos of the master himself teaching. So join me on that intriguing journey as we delve into the world of the Barry Harris system. Before we go any further, I would just like to take time out to pay my respects to the recent passing of Dr. Barry Harris on the 8th of December. He was nearly 92, being born in 1929. God bless and rest his soul. He did a tremendous work, in the area of jazz and music on the whole. I would just like to say Barry Harris, though he's noted as a jazz musician and bebop legend, which he was one of the actual participants and contributors to the bebop era. He actually lived in the home of where Thelonious Monk used to live, the home owned by the Baroness Pananica, however you say the Panonica, I think that's how they say it, Panonica de Coinish Water. You can check her name out, the Baroness. He lived in that home, so all credits to him to the bebop and jazz era. But from being around Barry Harris, I've heard him say that he see himself as a musician, not just a jazz musician. And for me, I believe that because I'm not a big jazz musician or any jazz musician by any means, but I have learned and have been able to apply the information I learned from Barry Harris to my style of playing. Over the years, I've imbibed all genres. I've played in worship teams for many years, played in bands, and I've been a music teacher for many years. I started as classical music from the age of about 11. At that time, back in the Caribbean, we worked through the Trinity College of Music in England, the ABRSM, again from England, where we learned conventional theory. Let me say conventional or traditional musical theory. And later on, along with my wife Naomi, we founded Vision School of Music, which was where we actually, had students come to our homes, or we would go to their locations, and we would, schools included, and train and prepare students. This is back in the Caribbean. At that time, it would have been we established and started Vision School of Music in Grenada, yes. So that was in 1995, correct? Yeah, 1995. Let me fact check that. Is that, yeah, actually in 1995. And at that time we endeavored to teach not just the classical or the ABSRSM, that's the Associated Board of the Royal School of Music, their methods to our students, but general and practical musicianship skills that we have had developed among ourselves. My wife and I, she's a bassist, a great singer, and she plays piano and many other instruments as well. And we taught these our own methods to our students. But one thing I can tell you is that with all the musical theory I learned from the Royal School of Music or any other conventional method, I was never able to or feel comfortable in trying to analyze music harmonically, melodically with the information that was taught. I'm not trying to bash any system, but I'm going to tell you the Barry Harris system opens it's like a key to a lot of closed doors, right? Stick with me to throughout these classes. I'll be showing you how I've applied them to a lot of the songs I've played, and to help with the we call it the harmonic analysis, the melodies and everything. The thing about the Barry Harris system that is unique is that it is scientifically based. I would say that because apart from being a musician, I'm a trained electrical engineer. That's my first degree, electrical engineering. And I have a sound background in physics and the sciences. So with that background, and people have always asked why you studied the sciences or engineering and you're a musician. For me, it has always been just one continuum, right? They're all related. In the Barry Harris system, it's very philosophical from the way he does it, but it's very scientific. And that key is what I figured or believe it is called symmetry. And I'll show you that makes his music so beautiful, so beautiful. And as we delve into these systems, I will be sharing the way I understand it and inviting a lot of other more established and what I would say closer students and disciples of Barry Harris to weigh in on my explanations, to weigh in on the things that he taught, because I would in no way, claim to be any expert on the Barry Harris system. One of the persons that are the channels I would invite you to check out, it's a channel called Things I Learned from Barry Harris by Chris. I saw Chris. I wouldn't say I met him. I actually saw him once at one of Barry Harris' classes. But from looking at his channel, was with Barry Harris for a very long time. And I can tell you, attending Barry Harris classes and looking at the way how Chris looks at the material, I would say he's one of the true disciples of the Barry Harris system. And I have learned a lot from him, because I'm going to tell you, going to the Barry Harris class is not an easy road. He could be very rough. And then there's a lot of, very talented people that can intimidate you around. And, so sometimes you can't really get everything at the class. But relating what Chris says and what Barry Harris said, I can say, yes, I agree with his approach. There are many other, I've seen a lot of other attempts to explain the system out there, but I haven't been very satisfied, with that. So I invite you, Chris has not asked me to send you across his channel. I just think it's a good thing. So I'm going to put his link in my description below. I first met and heard about Barry Harris around 2011 while working in the city as an appliance repair technician. And I happened to get into the home of someone that was one of his students, and they had a piano. And normally when I go into homes and I see their pianos, I steal the opportunity to get a little play, whatever. And a lot of the times the homeowners or whatever would be amazed that here the technician actually plays. But this particular person, they also played, and they made some movements that amazed me. I remember it was something like this. And I said, wow, you know, what was that? And at that time she said, here, did you ever hear about Barry Harris? I said, no. And, she invited me to the classes, and I did a few classes around 2011, but for me, it was like cognitive dissonance, because the way he looked at music was totally unique, was different, and I dropped off for the scene for a while. But then, it was always bugging me that, there's something to this system that you need to learn, you need to know. So in 2019, I made a definite effort, and I was able to do it for about 1 year, and I don't regret it. I'm going to share this information with you. One of I want to share a video with you as well, because I was lucky and able to visit Barry Harris at his home in Weehawken, and I'm going to share that clip with you. I was able to see the piano that Thelonious Monk played, and that was exciting to me. Barry Harris, at that time, I took my wife and my daughter and her boyfriend across, and my wife, who is an excellent cook. You must check her out she has a channel called the Mommy Master Kitchen. I had her cook up a storm, and we took him some of the food, and Barry Harris enjoyed it. He even called the next day and said, man, I enjoy that food. Barry Harris loved to eat, as far as I saw it, because every time I went to class, or a lot of times when I went to class, he would always be at the Iguana before classes, the Iguana just before the practice room that's on West 54th Street, and he would be with a few students, and I was lucky at one time he invited me. He said, "Hey, Michael, come sit down. Let's eat." And I sat and we had a meal with him at the Iguana, and I'm happy for that. To have interacted with him, not only on a musical level, but just as a general person. He was just always full of love and compassion, as far as I know him, and all those around him respected him. At times we would be in classes, and if you get, for some reason, I remember at one time there were two guys, I think they were like about to fight, and once Barry opens his mouth and says something, it's like everybody just gets quiet, and he was already up in age, he wasn't going to punch anybody down, but he just commanded that respect. So without further ado, I'm going to share that video with you. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how I've applied. And I put in a little piece at the end there. These are some of the first two movements, as he would call them, that I learned from attending his classes. I'm going to tell you, it's exciting. It's mind-blowing, I can just put it that way, because since I've been applying this to my music, everything is just opened up to me, and I'd like to share this with you. I'll also be inviting, as I said, some of the more Barry Harris stalwarts to weigh in on what I'm doing. So if you like what you see, remember to share and to subscribe, all right? And click the notification bell, so when I post new videos, we'll be doing this series, the Barry Harris Masterclass reviews. Again, I'll be sharing hundreds of videos that I've recorded from classes I attended with Barry Harris. So have a look at this video from my visit to the Barry Harris home in Weehawken, New Jersey. This is Michael Haynes, and I'll be seeing you in my other videos. Love and peace.
secret door.
Okay, so we're here visiting the master, Dr. Barry Harris.
Yeah.
This here is my favorite musician and mentor all in one.
What you want to hear?
But my wife is here, but we all, COVID-19 style. My wife, my daughter, and her boyfriend, and Leela is here, and then we have Leo. Leo is a student as well.
My newest family is here.
Newest family.
This is my other family.
Yeah. All right.
Mr. Haynes.
All right. So, for me, Barry Harris, I say he's an inventor. He's a philosopher, and it's the best thing I've met when it comes to understanding music. All right.
Yeah, all I hear in the house every time is Barry Harris.
And full of the devil. I've been trying to figure out a way to get rid of this cat.
This is the piano that Thelonious Monk used to play. See, it's right here. I can say I touched it. I can say I played it, yeah. This is, yeah. How about that?